We are starting with a new chapter now. In fact, it's a series of chapters, and the theme of these chapters is what is called market structure. Buyers and sellers in an economy, in a nation, meet in markets which are structured differently. So there are certain structures where you have, let me show you. Right. So there are certain structures where you would find that the market has large number of buyers and sellers. So you go to buy this quantity and you find that there are crores of people who are producing this item. There are crores of people who are buying this item. Okay. Then, so that is called perfectly competitive market. And the best example of perfectly competitive markets are the agricultural markets. So you know that the farmers in India are crores and crores, right? So farmers are crores and what they buy is what they produce, which is the agricultural produce, which can be food, which can be cotton and all. The consumers of this are also crores and crores, in fact, many more crores than the farmers, right? So perfectly competitive market is a market like this, where you have many buyers and many sellers, and nobody has control over the market because they all are producing minuscule, they all are consuming minuscule. So it is a perfectly competitive market where there are too many people out there. Okay. Then you have the second thing, which is slight tweaking of the perfectly competitive market, where you have large number of buyers, many sellers, but they are not the kind of sellers that you would find in an agricultural market, which is like crores of sellers. No. Here you would be finding sellers who are say 50, 60, 100 and things like that. And these are the people who sell branded products. So you have soaps. Soaps are something which are branded, which are something which are wholesale market products where you get soaps which are not branded at all. So there are so many different types of soaps and paste, toothpaste and things like that. So those are the things where you have large number of buyers and many sellers, but they brand their products. So that's why it is called monopolistic competition. Okay. Then you have large number of buyers and few sellers. Like, 10 sellers, 15, at the most 20, at the most. Usually 10 or less. Okay. But at the most, say 20. That makes it oligopoly. So if you look at the petroleum market in the world, then it is oligopoly because most of the nations do not have petroleum. Petroleum is owned by only a few nations. And that's why it is oligopoly. Okay. Because there are large number of buyers, sellers are very few. Okay. Then you have duopoly. Large number of buyers and only two sellers. Okay. And this is something which is happening in, say, America, where you have just Pepsi and Coca-Cola, Pepsi and Coke. So nobody else supplies the cola. That cola is supplied by only two. Duopoly. Okay. So duopoly is large number of buyers and only two sellers. Then you have large number of buyers and only a single seller. Nobody else can supply this except this. Once upon a time, post office in India used to be a monopoly. Once upon a time, telephone lines in India used to be a monopoly. Today, railways in India are a monopoly. So there are large number of passengers who are using, they say that about 4 lakhs or 5 lakhs people travel by Indian Railways every day. If you don't count the suburban railway of Bombay, which itself has about 4 to 5 lakhs traveling every day, if not more. So large number of buyers and a single seller. That is a monopoly. And large number of sellers and a single buyer. This is just for your information. We are not going to be studying this as such. It is called monopsony. Okay? Monopoly and monopsony. Monopsony we are not going to be learning about, but just for your information. Okay? So These are the kind of markets that you come across in your life. All of these are the markets from which you buy. All of this. Okay. So you have to know the characteristics. You have to know where what works and where what kind of control might be required. Okay. But before we go into all that, um, let me just show you this. Okay. So where do all these suppliers stand? So if this was a market demand curve, okay, if this was a market demand curve, I have forgotten to add this. Let me just quickly add it for you. Market demand. Okay, so this is your, come on, come on. Yes, yes. So this is your market demand curve. If this is a market demand and this is the quantity demanded by the market, perfectly competitive supplier would be somewhere here. Very little supply compared to what is being demanded, very little supply, minuscule. The share of the supplier in the perfectly competitive market is minuscule. Okay. आप कितने भी बड़े किसान क्यों ना हो, however big a farmer you are, देश के करोड़ों लोगों को पहुंचा सको इतना आप उगा ही नहीं सकते. It's impossible. Okay, so that's why your individual share in the market is minuscule. It might be somewhere here, but look at the price. They supply always at a lesser price compared to any other market structure. So perfectly competitive market, the supplier supplies very little compared to the market demand, and the supplier usually supplies at a very competitive price. So the price in perfectly competitive market is always very less. Okay. Then comes oligopoly. Now you have more control over the market because there are very few sellers and there are many, many buyers. So oligopolist, if this is the total quantity, oligopolist alone would be supplying at least 1/3, 1/4, or at the most 1/5 of the total market. So oligopolist is very close to the market demand. Oligopolist because he or she has more control over the market because she supplies almost 20% to 30% of the total market demand. She has that power. That power translates into higher price. Okay. So the price is not as low as it is in the perfectly competitive market. And then, sorry. And then comes the monopolist. So when you come to the monopolist is the one who might have more capacity than what the market is demanding. Okay. So that's why the monopolist is here. Sometimes the monopolist is on here. Sometimes the monopolist is here. When India had not yet privatized its telecommunication, Indian monopoly was here. And we all used to wait for like 5 years, 6 years to get one phone, you know, and bahut jada wo bhi constantly following that up and on. So, but usually the monopolist is supposed to have this much capacity or this much capacity and should be able to meet the market demand. So should you have more capacity than what the market is demanding. Okay? So this is where they are standing, and because the monopolist is the only seller in the market, the monopolist has complete control over the market. The monopolist decides the price and you have to pay that. You have no choice, absolutely no choice. That's why the monopolist would always charge the highest compared to any other competition structure. And that is the reason why if you ask an economist, which is the best market structure, they will say perfectly competitive market. Okay, because nobody has control, neither the buyer nor the seller. Everybody is equal. Nobody has control. Nobody can dictate terms. Here, one person can dictate terms to the whole population. And that's why this is considered dangerous in economics, and this is considered very desirable in economics. Okay. So we will now see all the different characteristics of perfectly competitive markets and all. But right now for this lecture, we'll end here. I'll stop sharing. Okay, and we are ending. Bye.